Traveling to a foreign country and learning about its culture is one of the best ways to spend your vacation. If you want to escape from civilization and recharge yourself in nature, Mongolia is the best place for you. Join the MNB World team as we explore Mongolia and guide you through planning your travel. On today's episode, we are going to Huskul province and we will show you what you can see on the way. Okay, so we're right after the city and it's a beautiful day. It's a little bit of fog around, and here we have ava, or stone pile. It was used as a provincial border marks, but nowadays people worship these avas and make offerings to them to wish for a good road and good luck along the way. So let's give them an offering and pray to our ancestors that we will have a wonderful journey. Okay. An ava is a very sacred thing for Mongolian people. It is used as altars or shrines. When passing an ava, Mongolians dismount and add more stones to it if they have no offering, while going around it sunwise or clockwise 3 times. This practice was prohibited during the socialist era, but the tradition has survived up until this day, even under the watchful eye of the Reds. There are many different kinds of avas depending on the region. Northern regions of Mongolia have a wooden ava, while other regions have different shapes and sizes. We're 16 kilometers away from Deerstone, and here we have ruins of Qintalga. So this was used to be a watchtower, and you can see at least 40 to 50 kilometers all around. So any warrior who knows what he's doing, the high ground is best, and this is the ultimate high ground, at least it was back in the days. The Khitan people were Mongolian nomads who inhabited parts of modern-day Mongolia, northern China, and Siberia from the 4th century to the 12th century. No full archaeological excavation was conducted on this ruin in particular. However, roof tiles that were found in these ruins had Khitan writings on them, which proved that this ruin is the remains of Chengchu city of Khitan. It really makes you wonder how Khitan nomads made something that survived well over millennia while being exposed to the elements. The watchtower and the ruins of the compound were later used by Tsogtag. We're at the Qintalga Balgas ruins, and this is the main compound. Although it does not look much today, it used to house more than 20,000 soldiers. So when we get news from the watchtower about possible approaching enemies, the soldiers could, mobilize within minutes and meet them on the way. So this used to be one of the biggest compounds back in Khitan era, and this is like this now. So I just moved around here, and who knew that endless steppe could hide so many history. So what I have found, what it seems like the roof tiles or parts of the compound or barracks which used to house here. So this is something that you can find just by going around these ruins. So there are many more ruins like this, and you can find them on your own. Just 20 kilometers from the Qintalga ruins, you can find the ruins of the White Castle built by Tsogtag. Tsogtag was a noble, one of the Emperor Chinggis's descendants, who lived from 1581 to 1637. He was one of the most significant figures who fought against Qing invasion. Our program would continue for hours if we talk about all that history, so if you want to learn more about Toktaj, you can look up his history or you can watch the film. If you want to explore further, just 12 kilometers from Deerstone Center, there is another ruin from Khitan era called Kharbokh ruins. Roof tiles similar to the ones from Qingtala ruins were found from this site, suggesting that both ruins were built during the 10th century AD. What is interesting is that these buildings were built using volcanic rocks. The ruins were later utilized in the 17th century for a stone temple. In the 19th century, a joint excavation expedition by Mongolia and Japan unearthed these ruins and recovered over 60 birch bark manuscripts from the temple.
So we're around 300 kilometers away from the city and we're on a dirt road right now. This is part of the adventure when you come to Mongolia. And although most of the provincial centers are connected to the capital with paved roads, you have to go around these kind of dirt roads to reach the good stuff. So
now, do not let this fact put you off. It is not off-road, it is only dirt road. If you think that I'm just saying this because we had a good vehicle, I'm not. Even Toyota Prius can go off-road in Mongolia. Have you ever seen anything like this before anywhere?
guys, we're around 400 kilometers away from Ulaanbaatar city and we've arrived at Arkansas region of Bolon province. And here we've just arrived at the Deerstone Complex.
We arrived at Arkansas Center. The roots of this town were established during the socialist era. Right next to the Som Center, you can find the Deerstone Complex. It is amazing how you can walk no more than 5 minutes to arrive here from town. Deerstones are found throughout Mongolia and some parts of Siberia. Although there are many theories on why ancient people built them, one of the popular ones suggests that flying deer depicted on the stone are carrying the souls of the deceased to heaven. The fact that deer stones are usually found near burial mounds only enforces this theory. Deer depicted on these megaliths are believed to be reindeer. This also explains why they are mostly found in the northern parts of Mongolia, where the Tsatan people, the reindeer herders, reside. Deer stones are classified into 3 distinct types by researchers: Classic Mongolian, West Asian, European, and Sayan Altai. Ones found in Mongolia are of course Classic Mongolian, as they are heavily decorated and very detailed compared to the other 2 types. Deer stones have 2 belts, which are believed to depict different worlds, heaven and earth. Sun and the moon are present on top, which depicts the eternal sky. Tools and weapons are at the bottom, representing the earth. As mentioned before, the deer could be the messenger of the sky, bringing the soul to the afterlife. There are legends of nomadic warriors donning deer masks on their horses. This means that they are making a last stand and sacrificing their lives for their leaders. No surrender and no retreat. Just next to the deer stones, we found a burial mound and went to investigate.
So I'm standing next to a burial mound, which is believed to be around 3,000 to 4,000 years old. So this is the legacy of the nomads.
Burial mounds such as this can be found throughout Mongolia, and they are called kriksur in Mongolian language. Depending on the period and culture, a body was actually buried in it, or these mounds were just used as ritualistic sacrificial sites. This particular mound was built for a noble woman, according to the local researchers. We know this from the shape of the mound. Local researchers told us that round burial mounds were for females and males had square-shaped burial mounds. Number of additional circles around the mounds signify how important that person was. When excavated, a number of sacrificial items and burned bones come out of these smaller pits. Such burial mounds are very common around Mongolian steppe, so you're free to explore them when you visit Mongolia, of course with certain respect to historical sites. We continued our journey and reached Bodrum city. Every provincial center has a museum dedicated to the province. These museums are the best place to learn about the local history and nature, so we visited the Bodrum City Museum.
So we have arrived at the province center of Bodrum province, and here we arrived at the Provincial Museum. So every province has their own museum like this, so I urge you to visit each and one of them because they have really interesting information about that province. So let's take a look.
The first hall showcased the weapons that was used to liberate Mongolia from Qing forces. There were various kinds of Mauser pistols, Shashkoi swords, mostly nagants, mostly Russian weapons, because there was no other ally that could supply Mongolia with weapons other than Russian Empire. If you are a fan of old weapons, you would definitely love it here.
This was the personal equipment of Hatabatar Maksarjov. Is one of the most important historical figures in the mid-20th century of Mongolia.
The next hall showcased the various fauna and flora, as well as wild animals that inhabit Bodrum province. Of course, all museums have this kind of hall, but this hall in particular showcased the animals that inhabit Bodrum province, so it would be interesting to look through.
There is this one really interesting finding here, if you take a look at that. The usual deer has 12 separate antlers, but this one has 18 separate antlers. So you can imagine how massive this beast was just from the size of that antlers.
This hall showcased various daily utilities of Mongolian people. All these heavily decorated utensils, such as knives, hoduk, and combs, are just daily utilities of Mongolian regular people. So can you imagine how the kings used to clothe?
So you should check this out because this one is made by literal human skull. So Vikings ain't got nothing on this.
Mongolian nomads are much more fond of silver and copper instead of gold because these precious metals have a unique healing properties and was used for daily utensils like bowls.
So I have to highlight this person particularly because he is the first Mongolian to ever go to space. His name is Gurrekja. This section showcases the main products of Bodrum province, and Bodrum province is renowned for its wonderful, almost every Mongolian knows about its fermented milk or erg in Mongolian. So this is the leather bag which they use to ferment the mare milk. This is basically a moving prison. So this 300 kilogram chain was used to chain people up during the Qing period. So this one here is a gear which everyone knows, but this one is really interesting. It's a one of a kind of some sort because this one, the skyline or the window on top separates in two, which I've seen for the first time ever. This section showcases the regular equipment of Mongolian nomads, and check this out. This one was awarded to a herder during the socialist era. Imagine receiving a silver bucket from the government for working good. Bodrum province is also renowned for its farming capacity, and this kind of farming started in the 19th century by Mongolian nomads. So that was the Province Museum of Bodrum province. Not all of it, we're leaving you to explore the rest of it. And as I mentioned before, every province has their own small museum like this, about their history, about their culture and ecosystem. So visit one when you visit Mongolia. Okay, we're just 80 kilometers away from the Bodrum province center, and while we were dining, we noticed that Minecraft looking mountain over there, that's actually a volcano which became inactive around 2 million years ago. Actually, these parts, there are around 4 volcanoes such as this, and the northern parts of Mongolia is considered an active volcanic area. So that one is an interesting sight to see, and if you go up through the mountain and look inside, there is actually a small lake.
We continued our journey and stopped for a roadside picnic. We were exactly halfway from our destination. Located around 60 kilometers from Bolgan city, this extinct volcano is called Oruntoga. There are 3 different extinct volcanoes located near here, and they are called Togo, Toluk, and Jalovch Mountain. Oruntoga has one of the most beautiful natural environment with rich fauna and flora surrounding it. This area became a nationally protected area in 1995. Hiking to the top of the volcano is very rewarding. The peak is 1,686 meters above sea level. You can find a small lake which almost feels like a meditation ground. You can get an unobstructed view of the whole valley. It was an absolutely stunning view from the top. We went through a very mountainous area, and while hiking to get a good angle for videos, we found a cave along the way, and this cave had more secrets than we expected.
Mongolia, like any other nation, has many caves and even cave systems, and you may think that this is just a small, unremarkable cave, but you can't be more wrong, because there are traces of ancient people where nomads used to live before they became nomads.
Mongolia has one of the highest number of rock paintings in the world. It is believed that Homo erectus possibly inhabited Mongolia as much as 800,000 years ago. Starting from rock paintings to deerstones, you can follow the traces of ancient human civilizations when you visit Mongolia. We saw a number of caves when traveling through this region. Locals believe that these caves were used by ancient people. What is interesting when you are traveling through Mongolia is that locals have legends and tales about almost every mountain and locations around that region. So when you visit Mongolian herders to experience the nomadic lifestyle, you can also ask for history lessons and learn about many wonderful things. Elders have knowledge about things that are not recorded in any books or articles. We arrived at Mound city, center of Hovsgol province, late at night and decided to continue our journey the next day.